Here's a very small ghost story for Christmas Eve, because in Britain it's a tradition to tell ghost stories at Christmas time, and this one is very specific to Christmas Eve. There's also a little twist in the tale. I also wanted to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and thank you all for being here with me. It means the world. For this one, we are going to Hawkhurst Road in Marden, Kent, in the 18th century, but actually in any year. The road was a very popular one, being the main through road to Hastings, and it was also a popular road for highwaymen. Dangerous gangs and smugglers resided in Hawkhurst at this time, and Hawkhurst is where the travellers in this story were heading to. Although highwaymen can be romanticised, they were a very real threat to travellers back in the day, and their robberies could often be very violent. I do suspect that I will be speaking more about highwaymen further down the road, as they are quite iconic and fascinating. An infamous highwayman by the name of Gilbert halted a carriage on Christmas Eve with every intention of robbing those inside it. Gilbert commanded a young woman and her father out of the carriage in order to relieve them of their possessions. Just as the woman left the carriage, the startled horses bolted, taking the carriage and her father with them off the road. The young woman was left alone with the notorious highwayman Gilbert, seemingly defenceless. Eventually, the horse and carriage were brought back under control by the driver and the woman's father. They rushed to the spot of the robbery to be of assistance to her. When they got there, all they found was the lifeless body of the highwayman, with blood oozing from his side. Some say that they buried Gilbert's body at the side of the road. The young woman was nowhere to be seen. It wasn't until the next day that the young lady was found by the villagers of Marden. She had been wandering in the forest that Christmas Eve night, which must have been absolutely bloody freezing. She had gone entirely mad. The lady was driven to madness, not by the cold, but by the events which unfolded when she had been left alone with Gilbert. Either he had told her, or she had recognised him to be the murderer of her brother. Perhaps her brother had met his fate on the same road, this having been pretty much the only route to anywhere. With this recognition, she had become absolutely furious, and also anxious that she and her father should not meet the same fate. She pulled out a knife which she had hidden in her bag, and stabbed Gilbert to death before fleeing the scene. We are aware of the events of that Christmas Eve because Gilbert, who is sometimes accompanied by the young woman, has silently replayed his murder every Christmas Eve for any passers-by who happen to be on that stretch of Hawkhurst Road at the haunting hour. Did I listen to Adam and the Ants Stand and Deliver before scripting this? Why, yes, I absolutely did. And remember, never underestimate your opponent, become complacent, or anger a good woman. Merry Christmas, everybody.